Hi folks, and welcome back to the Storm and Cellar. After the brutal and savage attack on Israel from the terrorist group Hamas, Prime Minister Netanyahu declared war on them. Since then, the Israeli Defense Forces mobilized its entire military and recalled over 300,000 reservists to root out and liquidate the terrorist group in the Gaza Strip. Now, everyone's wondering who, what, where, and when actions and events will occur. So here's my thoughts. After spending most of my military career in Southwest Asia and the Middle East, coupled with my in-depth international studies at the Air War College, I have a pretty darn good idea of how the Arab world, Iranians, and Israelis think. So here goes. The Israeli Defense Force, or IDF, have already moved onto the border of the Gaza Strip with tanks, artillery, and massive personnel to begin their operational push deep into the Gaza Strip any day now. Currently, their priority is gathering intelligence on where both Hamas terrorists are and as well as where the 200 hostages might be located. The Israelis have already cut off food, water, and electricity to the Gaza Strip to force the release of the hostages. Once the operational push into the highly populated cities, towns, and residential areas begin, it'll start from the northern part of Gaza and begin the IDF's Drive South. Already, the Israeli Air Force has been softening up the area and targeting Hamas with precision bombs while the Israeli Navy's blockading anything coming into the Gaza Strip. The IDF is trying to get the 1 million Palestinians to move further south to prevent collateral damage. But Hamas is hindering that because they want civilian population as human shields and as dead bodies to parade on national news outlets, bringing down any kind of support for Israel. Just today it was reported that they're blocking the highways and roads south and not letting the civilians through. Also, Israel has tried to get Egypt to accept refugees, which so far they've refused to do. Of course, the IDF's main objective is to not only kill Hamas terrorists, but also capture and destroy their huge weapons cache and locate and destroy the massive tunnel system throughout Gaza that they built over the years. The only pushback as far as weapons the IDF will encounter from Hamas will be automatic weapons, RPGs, mortars, and booby traps. They definitely have nothing to counter Israelis' myriad of sophisticated weapons available to them. So what can the IDF expect on their push through Gaza? Pure and simple, door-to-door fighting, which will result in many casualties on both sides. However, you can bet IDF air support will be constantly present overhead. If the IDF starts taking fire from a building, the Air Force will level that building within seconds. Again, the hostages are a big concern to the Israelis, and I expect the U.S. Navy will more than likely provide intelligence and special ops Navy SEALs if required by the IDF. Of course, the Iranians have not only sponsored Hamas in southern Israel, but also Hezbollah on Israel's northern border with Lebanon. Hezbollah has 150,000 more sophisticated rockets aimed at Israel. Now, although there have been some small rocket attacks and incursions from Hezbollah, they, like other hostile Arab countries as well as Iran, are waiting for the Israeli main push into Gaza. Once those forces are divided, they'll be knee-deep in combat action in the Gaza Strip, and Hezbollah and Syria, maybe Iran, will be able to commit their forces, resulting in a two-front war within Israel. Some think that the U.S.'s deployments of the strike groups USS Ford in place and Eisenhower en route, which includes 2 carriers, 20 ships, and 103 strike aircraft, are to provide Israel with combat forces to fight Hamas and Hezbollah, but nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, they're there merely as a show of force against mainly Syria. Trust me, Israel doesn't need 2 carrier strike groups to help with Hamas and Hezbollah. So why is the U.S. concerned about Syria? Well, Syria is now and has always been a destabilizing force in the Middle East. They have 4 naval bases on the Med, but I believe they're somewhat obsolete in their Navy. Their Air Force has a long reach from its bases as well, but they're equipped with MiG-29s, MiG-25s, and MiG-23s, and Su-24s. Nothing really, I think, that the Israeli Air Force or the U.S. has to worry about. Syria also has an army of approximately 220,000 personnel and a large special forces organization. While the 2 carrier groups are providing combat air patrols and potentially strike missions in Syria, the U.S. Air Force F-15 Strike Eagles, F-16s, A-10 Thunderbolts, and soon F-35s are deployed to Incirlik Air Base, Turkey. Therefore, if Syria decides to join the fight, it'll be a bad day in Laredo for them, folks. Naturally, they'll keep a close eye on Iraq as the IDF operation picks up full steam in Gaza. Although Egypt, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia will highly protest the IDF military action in Gaza, I highly doubt they'll commit any military forces. So what about Iran, the main culprit in this mess? Just today, they've threatened Israel with a preemptive strike. I'm surprised that a U.S. naval strike group is not headed towards, or at least close to the Persian Gulf. I do expect B-52s to deploy to Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. Of course, there are U.S. Air Force combat forces located at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, and Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia might be available for some future deployed U.S. combat forces. The real point here is for the U.S. to isolate any other Arab countries, and of course Iran, from interfering with the IDF battling Hamas and Hezbollah. As this thing plays out, the stakes get much higher if Iran gets involved. Again, Iran is part of the Quad Alliance of Russia, China, and North Korea, all of which have their own objectives to achieve. An attack on Iran would just be the starting gun for all of them to execute their military objectives simultaneously. It'll be interesting to see if any of them flinch. Until then, we'll just have to wait and see if the dominoes start to fall. So what do you guys think? Put your comments in the section below. If you found this video informative, like, share, and definitely subscribe to the channel. So until next time, make sure all your takeoff and landings equal.